Commander Zara Chen pressed her palm against the cool metal of the observation deck's viewport, watching the massive Imperial dreadnoughts retreat in what could only be described as panic. Their ion drives blazed brilliant blue against the starfield as they accelerated away from the anomaly that had materialized just beyond the asteroid belt of the Kepler 442 system. "Status report, Lieutenant Reeves," she commanded, her voice steady despite the churning in her stomach. The young officer's fingers danced across his holographic interface, streams of data cascading around him in translucent ribbons. "Ma'am, the object defies all known physics. Mass readings are inconsistent. Sometimes it registers as having the density of a neutron star. Other times it barely shows up on our sensors." Through the reinforced transparent steel, the thing hung in space like a fevered dream made manifest. It wasn't quite a ship, though it bore some resemblance to one. Its hull, if it could be called, that seemed to phase in and out of visible reality, sometimes appearing as solid as durasteel, other times translucent as morning mist. Geometric patterns flowed across its surface like living fractals, defying the eye's attempt to follow them to completion. "How long since it appeared?" Chen asked, though she already knew the answer. She had been monitoring the Imperial fleet's routine patrol when space itself seemed to tear open, disgorging this impossible vessel. 17 minutes, Commander." The Imperial ships attempted to establish communication protocols, but Reeves paused, consulting his readings again. "The electromagnetic signatures are unlike anything in our databases. It's as if the ship exists partially outside our normal space-time continuum." Dr. Elena Vasquez, the expedition's xenarchaeologist, approached the viewport with measured steps. Her dark eyes reflected the strange lights emanating from the ghost ship's hull. "The phase variance patterns remind me of theoretical models I've seen in quantum archaeology papers. If this is what I think it is, we're looking at technology that manipulates dimensional membranes." "Meaning what exactly?" Chen turned to face the scientist, noting the mixture of excitement and apprehension in her expression. "Meaning this ship might not be from our universe at all. It could be phasing between dimensional layers, existing in multiple realities simultaneously. That would explain why the Imperial fleet is retreating. Their weapons and shields are designed for three-dimensional warfare against something that can slip between dimensions." A low harmonic vibration suddenly thrummed through the ship's hull, causing the lights to flicker. Every crew member felt it in their bones, a resonance that seemed to speak directly to something deep in their neural pathways. "Commander," Reeves called out, his voice tight with alarm, "the entity is moving toward us. Velocity is impossible to calculate. It's covering distance without appearing to accelerate through the space between positions." Chen watched as the ghost ship approached, its form becoming clearer, yet somehow more incomprehensible as it drew near. The hull appeared to be constructed from a material that absorbed and reflected light, according to no known optical principles. Sections of it seemed to exist in multiple states, simultaneously solid and liquid, present and absent, ancient and newly formed. "Are we receiving any transmissions?" she asked. "Negative on standard frequencies, but..." Reeves frowned at his instruments. "There's something else. A pattern in the quantum foam fluctuations around the ship. It's too regular to be random." Dr. Vasquez moved to her own console, her fingers flying across the controls. "I'm detecting organized information structures in the quantum field distortions. This isn't just a ship, it's actively reshaping reality around itself, leaving computational artifacts in the fabric of space-time." The ghost ship came to rest, relative to their position, close enough that they could observe details of its impossible architecture. Spires twisted through dimensions that shouldn't exist, while what appeared to be energy conduits pulsed with light that hurt to look at directly. Most disturbing of all were the sections that seemed to be constructed from crystallized time itself, showing glimpses of past and future states simultaneously. "Commander, I'm reading massive gravitational anomalies," Reeves reported, his voice barely above a whisper. "Local space-time curvature is fluctuating beyond our instrument's ability to measure. If this continues, it could destabilize the entire system." Chen made her decision. "Open all communication channels. Every frequency, every protocol we have. If this thing is intelligent, we need to establish contact before it tears reality apart." The response was immediate and overwhelming. Not sound, not light, but something that bypassed their sensory organs entirely and spoke directly to their consciousness. Images flooded their minds, vast civilizations that existed in the spaces between dimensions, beings of pure thought navigating the quantum foam, the rise and fall of empires that spanned multiple realities simultaneously. Dr. Vasquez gasped, tears streaming down her face. "They're explorers like us. But they come from a universe where the fundamental constants are different. They've been searching for stable dimensional intersections, places where different realities can safely interact." The communication continued, flowing through their minds like a river of liquid knowledge. The ghost ship wasn't a warship at all. It was an ark, carrying the last survivors of a dying multiverse. Their reality was collapsing, the very laws of physics breaking down as entropy accelerated beyond any natural rate. They had been searching for sanctuary, for a universe stable enough to harbor refugees from their impossible existence. "They're asking for permission to establish a colony," Chen realized, the alien concepts translating themselves into familiar terms in her mind. "Not in our space, but in the quantum substrate beneath it. They want to exist in the gaps between our atoms, in the pause between one moment and the next." The Imperial fleet's retreat suddenly made perfect sense. Their technology was designed for conquest and control, not for the delicate negotiations required, when reality itself was the currency of diplomacy. What appeared to be retreat was actually tactical withdrawal, giving space for something far more complex than warfare. As understanding dawned, the ghost ship began to fade, not departing but settling deeper into the quantum layers of space-time. It was still there, Chen knew, but existing now in the spaces between spaces, visible only as occasional flickers at the edge of perception. The last transmission was simple, carrying undertones of gratitude and hope. "We thank you for your hospitality. We will be good neighbors in the depths of reality." Commander Chen stood at the viewport long after the ghost ship had vanished into its chosen exile between dimensions, knowing that humanity had just taken its first step into a far stranger and more wonderful universe than anyone had ever imagined.